to win, and we decided to play that game. So the start was good. We had a lot of fun. We played with people's concept of the world, your faulty narratives. We said things that we were hosted in North Korea. We actually stole all of the IP space from North Korea once. For a week, no one in North Korea could access the internet because of that. Or maybe other things as well. But it was important to us to show off that we could actually do things. We could control the internet. People always called us names. First it was pirates and these things. But inspired by the gay movement, we decided to make the names positive for us. So we made piracy cool, and most people agreed with that. Hollywood even made movies about it. Solely because of us. They called us terrorists, and well, we didn't make terrorism cool, but it kind of fell on its own stupidity. We played, and when they kind of ran out of things to call us, they did this. I'm going to show you a small video clip from the documentary about the Pirate Bay.
Till att börja med så tror jag inte på att det skulle finnas någon form av idé hos vanliga ungdomar om att upphovsrätt skulle vara fel eller så. Det tror jag är en myt, och den har liksom den här kopimistsekten varit väldigt duktiga på att marknadsföra.
So we got called a cult, which for me was very interesting. The woman you saw in the picture, she was the representative of Hollywood in Europe. So she's the main Hollywood representative. But she has another client, and it was the Church of Scientology. She probably knows what she's talking about. But as always, we did the thing that we do very well, and that is this.
This is wild. Some people seem to worship technology, but now it's being recognized as a religion. Yes, in Sweden, a church whose central tenet is the right to file share has been formally recognized by the Swedish government. It's called the Church of Copy-meism, I guess, copy-meism or copy-mism. Okay, and it claims that copy acting, sharing information through copying, is akin to a religious service.
Obviously, we won the PR war. And having your own church, just as another thing, is really good for other things. When I ended up in prison last year, I wanted vegan food. It says in the Swedish law that as a vegetarian or vegan, you're allowed to have vegetarian food. But their definition of vegetarian is not vegan, it's something else. But if you have your own religion, you can actually update the Bible and make sure that everyone in the religion has to eat vegan food. Get it faxed to the person and then actually get vegan food. I do all of these hacks all of the time. Most of them work, but I don't know if it matters in the end. Because recently I had this feeling that we reached a certain critical mass. A critical mass that was upset with the current state of the internet. Actually, the current state of policing the internet and what it promises the world. A critical mass that finally understands that we're on a way to a broadcasted world without peer involvement. The feeling was that a trend that we're centralizing the internet, having just a handful of centralized services instead of distributed ones, mostly owned by companies in one single country, a country that obviously does not care about borders, it's not the greatest idea for our future. I felt the movement was forming, a movement away from all of this. And tomorrow, when I woke up, it would climax into a whole bunch, maybe even a whole million of people that will see the group stop destroying the internet or give us our privacy back on Facebook. And they would click the like button and feel proud because you actually stopped the internet from being destroyed. But of course, this will not change anything. The internet will keep getting destroyed. It will keep becoming more and more centralized. We can't do anything anymore. We tried, we all sucked at it. The few people that really did anything are now old, some are dead. The young ones believe in the system, and they try to change from within. It's like trying to beat capitalism by trying to capture all of the money yourself. Every now and then we actually win some of the fights. We managed to stop ACTA, and we managed to stop SUPA, we managed to stop PIPA, all of these things. They all have acronyms that sound like some sort of STD. We congratulate ourselves and we feel important. In essence, we just lost 10 other battles. We don't have time to fight these other battles. We don't even know that they exist. We spend our time to do good, but just slow down an inevitable process. We have celebrities. We had WikiLeaks, we had Snowden, we had Manning, we had Aaron Swartz. Some are dead, some are locked up forever, some are in hiding, scared of their lives. With people and what they reveal, what they fight for, they're all major causes. Freedom of information, liberty, democracy, governmental transparency, due process, things we take for granted. These are bases for a modern safe society. Everything that is about the internet has become everything about politics. We talk about it a lot. We're upset, we scream, we cry, we sometimes protest, we get the t-shirts. We have our symbols, we have masks, we have our conferences, our camps, our demonstrations. We get a lot of attention and we feel that we get talked about. It's some sort of progress. And people in general, they like us. Our opponents are fat old bastard whore corporate sellouts. They're mostly rich men from the United States of America. They're all corrupt. They're easy to hate. It's like a good old Hollywood movie. And we actually expect a happy ending. But we've all been fooled. I think we actually lost. And I'm not so sure that we're going to fight anymore. We lost a long time ourselves because we cornered it. There's no use to struggle. There's no point in being positive. The only positive thing is that we don't need to worry anymore. It's all predetermined. It's all waste. There's no more any we. There's no more any us. We built these systems ourselves, and that's why we trust them. I just want to show this picture because it's awesome. As you might know, I was recently locked up. Just as other friends of mine all over the world. Some even here in Denmark. I think one of my friends who was just in prison is here right now. I was personally kidnapped by the Kingdom of Sweden for trying to resist. I did right, both legally and morally. The kingdom was wrong. We all knew it, but I actually was a fool to think that right and wrong had anything to do with it. Morals are really flexible. They've been deprioritized by control. Right is just a word that no longer has real meaning. It's a trick to keep people from being scared. Until you reach the edge, you believe in the system, even though people know in the back of their minds that they don't want to look over the edge.
But you left one final warning.
1984 is, I believe, a quite terrifying masterpiece. So terrifying, in fact, I don't think I should like to read another like it.
I'm not absolutely dissatisfied with it. I think it is a good idea, but the execution would have been better if I had not been under the influence of TB when I wrote it.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
So for the people that don't recognize the man, that was George Orwell who wrote the book 1984. And even a long time ago, we talked about all of these issues, and we did nothing about it. There won't be loyalty to the party, there will be loyalty to Facebook. I think actually the matters are much worse than you think about. We all talk about robots and technology taking our jobs, for instance, as if jobs were actually the higher goal in themselves, besides what needs to be done. But when building these computerized and automatic systems, we create new jobs. All the new technology-based jobs in the Western world feel so free. It's almost like we're never at work. We move our offices to our own homes. We're always connected. We're happy to go out and work with our friends. We don't see that we become robots that work all the time, only associate with other coworkers, and that we have no free time anymore. We don't need robots, we are the robots. That's also a good song. We're no longer in between jobs, we're in between all the new startups. We talk about startups and entrepreneurship as the future, as if there's something new. As a Scandinavian person, you probably know that an entrepreneur is someone who builds a home. It's been something different today. We outmaneuvered ourselves into believing that alone means strong. Whoever heard about a startup going on a strike against their customers over bad working conditions? We're fucking up all of the work done by the unions for the past century. And for what? For the promise of self-fulfillment, sourdough bread, cool bicycles, and cheap apartment in Berlin with second-hand IKEA furniture. The same furniture, I recently discovered firsthand, is made by forced laborers in Scandinavian and German prisons. You actually have to work for IKEA in Sweden. If you don't, you go to solitary cell. And it's not even a joke. There's no point in fighting. Whatever you think you can contribute, it's wrong. Life is not pointless, but trying to alter the content and path of life is futile. We're all privileged, but we're also all lazy. We never talk about revolutions anymore, except when creating a new hipster fixed bicycle wheel that would change the world. A term which today is slang for getting 50 minutes of fame for your product, not even yourself. And no, you're not the product as everyone has been saying about the internet. You're not that interesting. You're just a wallet. Call it activism, call it work, call it art, call it whatever you want. I tried, my friends tried, you kind of tried. But capitalism won. It's kind of game over. We're too lazy, we're too tired, we're too content. We just want our espresso machines and we don't want any responsibility. We blame our politicians even though we are the ones that elect them. The politicians have no say anyhow. It's not about the money, it's about the control. It's not that we're blind. In The Matrix, as I guess all of you have seen, Neo gets to decide. Does he want to live in this blissful ignorance, or does he want to see the real world? What he decides is to leave the Matrix. He wakes up and realizes he's just one of many humans that are being kept as resources. It wakes him up so hard that he can't ignore fighting the Matrix. But in our world, we see the issues daily. We see beggars, we see gender inequality, we see the rainforest being wrecked, the oil heating the planet, whales being slaughtered, people fleeing from their lives in war. We see our human rights being violated. We see the loss of privacy. We know we're monitored by cameras and microphones everywhere. But instead of stopping it, we help by carrying these microphones and cameras around, anywhere we go. The leaks from Manning and from Snowden has not changed one single thing of essence. We're not blind, we're totally full-sighted, we're awake. Instead of changing the view of people as resources, we have career opportunities in being manager of said human resources. We cannot wake up from being awake. A few is trying to control it all, take it all. They're trying to take all of the control, all the money, all of the information, all the politicians, all the power. We're not even trying to stop them. We're helping them to do it. Actually, they didn't try to take it. They already did that. So for those of you who've seen the greatest movie in the world, War Games, you know that the only way to win the game is not to play. But we unfortunately started to play. And the rules say we cannot just quit. We have to finish the game. So the only win is to lose as fast as possible. That's why I think we should give in to surveillance. We need more cameras, more microphones, more data retention. We need ankle bracelets that track us all, just as we do with today's criminals. My lawyer jokingly said there are two types of people. The ones that has been prosecuted and the ones that will be prosecuted. Let's just agree that we're all criminals and get it over with. Let's monitor ourselves. Send all of your data directly to the NSA or to the FRA, wherever you live, but make sure it's an easily searchable format. Let's innovate new embedded technology for surveillance, for our own security. Let's implant chips in our bodies today with the tracking signal. Let's give our DNA to the government at birth. But we've actually been doing that for 40 years in Scandinavia without anyone caring about it. So it's inevitable anyhow, so let's do it. We also need to give in to copyright. And we need to include micropayments in everything we do. I actually made a system for it, but it's way too fair. We need to have an extreme copyright system to ensure that fat people stay fat. Copyright extensions to 125 years after death is not enough. Let's make everything copyrighted by default and give it to the current copyright lords and let never copyright expire. That's the way we're going to anyhow. We also need to give in to patents. We need to make every invention to be for profit. Medicine should only be given to the people that can pay. If they can't, let's make them financial slaves for the rest of their life as punishment. Let's remove all regulation about GMOs. Let us make it possible to patent genome. Let's give IBM the rights to the color blue. They actually asked for it once. It's going to happen. But mostly, let's give in to capitalism. But when you give up, you wave a white flag. We need to wave a totally transparent flag. Because we're not just giving up, we need to submit. We need to give up our rights, our liberties, for our own safety. It's said that the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that it did not exist. And the greatest trick capitalism ever pulled was convincing the world that it was democratic and could be controlled, and it made you free. People don't care about democracy. Last year, when there was an election, or actually this year when there was an election in Denmark, during the election night, I took a screenshot from the Danish radio website. And one thing that was more popular than the actual election and the voting of the election was the Swedish monarch wedding. So people care more about monarchy than they care about democracy. I actually tried running for office, and the reason was that I was wanted by Interpol. I don't know if you know how that feels. They really suck at it. But I realized that if I got elected, I would get immunity. It's a good hack. Since I'm Finnish, I'm a Finnish citizen, and I was wanted by the Swedish government, I was thinking it's a really easy way for me to get elected, because Finnish people hate Swedish people. I played the game, I tried most of it, I didn't get elected, I was 700 votes away from it. But it was a lesson for the future. If you don't give up, if you don't want to give up on your ideals and your ideology, it's time to surrender. I'm going to show you the video that I made for the EU campaign, and even though it's really awesome, and I realized that I was playing the game, it still wasn't enough. I'm going to end with that video, and then I'm going to be ashamed for an hour. Do that.
So now today you are coming here and you're giving up.
No, the only way to win is by giving up, because we're going to lose, and I think that it's just wasting resources and time and efforts in trying to play the game. So that's what I'm doing. It's not that I'm like giving up in the sense of giving up. I want to win, so I have to lose. It's very obvious.
Yes. So what actually gives you hope for the future, for the internet, for what you believe in?
Well, history is the only thing, because we repeat ourselves all of the time. So we're going to build a system, and it will fall. That's what I base everything on. It's the fact that we are always repeating stupidity. So we are going to have a collapse in today's society. It's just a question of when. And since I want to, get to another place as soon as possible, of course I'm gonna make sure that it collapses now. So in the last election in the United States, if I could have voted, I would have voted for Sarah Palin, because obviously the country would go belly up quite quickly. The same, now we have Trump, who might do the same, and I'm hoping that he gets elected for that reason. And it might be a joke, but it's actually, I think it would be really awesome, because there is some creativity in that at least.
Yes. So if you were to give one final advice to all of the attendees today, how they can help you mess up or prepare for this collapse, what's the first thing that these people should go out and do?
Well, quit your job and don't get a new one. I think that's the first thing. And then don't pay your loans, don't pay all of that stuff. You just stop doing everything. It's just, the system will collapse. It's awesome. Yeah.
So today we've been talking a lot about change and movements and doing business in unusual ways. So to me it sounds a little bit like you're mobilizing a new crowd, a new movement here.
I don't want to have a movement. I wouldn't have it's not a movement if no one does anything. If you just stay at home and you do nothing, you can't call it a movement.
So that's why you guys need to go out and help Peter?
No, stay at home, do nothing.
Stay home, do nothing.
Yes.
All right, so thank you very much, Peter. And with this being said,